Hello and welcome to Bored and Confused, where I review shows based on two criteria. One, was I bored? Two, was I confused? Today's show is 11 to Midnight, playing at the Orpheum Theater Off-Broadway in the East Village. But before I jump into this exciting new dance show, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me grow this channel, helps me find more theater lovers out there, and lets everybody know what's going on in New York City theater scene. All right, let's jump into this. So what did I know going into 11 to Midnight? I was already very familiar with these two folks on the cover of the playbill, Austin and Meredith Talenko, who go by the name Costin Mayer on social media. I don't know why. I follow them on TikTok and I enjoy watching their dance videos. They usually stand side by side and create these short dances, not only to songs, but also to jingles, commercials, spoken word. Honestly, there's nothing that they can't choreograph to. They have such great energy and they're really fun to watch. They're a married couple, and I was excited to see what they would do on stage. And let me tell you, I was not disappointed. Now, here's a little backstory on how all this came to be. Austin and Meredith met just before COVID-19 hit, and they ended up living together in lockdown after just a month of dating. As two professional dancers stuck at home, they started learning some of the dance trends that were popular on social media. But as choreographers, they couldn't help but putting their own spin on everything. Eventually, they started sharing their own original choreography, and their Magic in the Hamptons video went viral. It was a trending sound at the time, but they came up with their own dance to it, and it was the first time other people started trying to do their choreography. That was the spark that built their massive following. Fast forward to now, they have 7.5 million followers on TikTok and 2.6 million on Instagram. And that following is what eventually brought them to the Orpheum. 11 to Midnight was created by Costin Mayer, that's Austin and Meredith Talenko, together with Hideaway Circus, the production company founded by Josh and Lyndsay Aviner. The show was directed by Lyndsay Magid Aviner, and this marks Austin and Meredith's NYC onstage theatrical debuts. It's worth noting that the entire company of dancers were all discovered online, which feels very on brand for these two. So what is 11 to Midnight about? The show takes place during one unforgettable hour at a New Year's Eve apartment party, somewhere in the city, where resolutions are made, feelings pop up out of nowhere, and 7 friends, some old, some new, come together to toast the new year. You can think of it as a dance play where movement does the storytelling. Now, the plot for this is very thin, as you would imagine for a dance show. There's a married couple, these two, and they're having a conflict because he's upset that she doesn't close the refrigerator door. She leaves the water running, the cabinets open, just stuff, real life stuff that couples get into fights about. And we get these flashback scenes showing how they met. A couple of characters are looking for love and they eventually find each other. There's a character with a Harry Potter fantasy and another character who's working on getting fit, assuming that's her New Year's resolution, clearly. The show loosely hangs all of this on this premise of New Year's resolutions, with post-it notes covering the walls of the theater where the audience can write their own. It's light, it's fun, don't come looking for heavy drama though. So let's talk about what works and what doesn't. On the positive side, there's a lot. The choreography is the real star here. Costin Mayer have a signature style that is energetic, infectious, it's full body movement, but it doesn't rely on tricks. There are no high kicks, no multiple pirouettes, no one's doing cooter slams and dropping into the splits or being thrown over each other's heads. It's movement that feels really accessible. You look at it and you think, oh, I want to learn that dance. And I think that is exactly why they are so successful on TikTok. The tightly synchronized cast of 7 each has featured solo moments that showcase their individual talents. And it's thrilling to see these dancers in the spotlight. The show is only 70 minutes long, which is absolutely perfect for a dance show. Dance shows do not need to be 3 hours. The lighting design is particularly incredible and really highlights all of the dancing beautifully. The sound design masterfully times ASMR cues to mimed action, wine bottles opening, the rattling of a refrigerator door, and the set, designed by Arnel Sanchianco, creates a cozy, hip apartment feel. The sound is a little loud for my taste, but for you younger folks, it's probably just perfect. There's a great number where every character is holding a cell phone with the flashlight on, and I really love that number. And my favorite moment may have been the final duet between the wife and husband characters when they reconnect. Most of the show's choreography is really front-facing, which makes sense given their TikTok background, where they're always playing to the camera. But in this final duet, they turn and face each other, and it becomes about their connection rather than the performance for the audience. And that shift was really beautiful and touching. I also really love the way they use confetti throughout the show. They use it as a stand-in for champagne. The characters dance with cups, and rather than liquid, it's confetti, so when they spill, you get this effect that gets used very cleverly throughout the whole show. And also the post-it notes are used and they fly in the air. So lots of paper flying around. And they do this really fun segment that feels like a greatest hits reel. It's short snippets of what I assume are a recreation of some of their most popular TikTok dances, one right after another. And it's a real crowd pleaser. On the negative side, and I want to be fair here, the narrative is very loose. When we went on the Harry Potter journey, I had no idea why we were going there. I enjoyed the performer, but as a story beat, it came out of nowhere for me. And there's an inconsistency in the physical world of the show that nagged at me sometimes. The props are real. There's an actual refrigerator, a table, real bottles, but sometimes the characters pantomime everything. I wasn't exactly clear what the rules were, and that inconsistency kept pulling me out of the world. I think it might have been fun to actually, if they would have just leaned in and had all pantomime or actually had cabinets that they could open as well as the refrigerator. There's also a question of whether or not the characters could speak. Some scenes felt purely movement-based, and then suddenly someone spoke a line, and it felt a little jarring at first, and they felt a little on the spectrum with these really short phrases. I just felt they needed tighter rules. The show really features Costin-Mayer's high-energy choreography, which is beloved by fans. But the story is largely generic, and this is really geared towards a TikTok audience. The show gives us a lot of short dances within a time frame that's really suitable for an audience of scrollers, though I mean that in the best possible way. And whether Costin-Mayer's social media following translates to a big box office success, that remains to be seen. But I hope it does. This show offers something genuinely welcome in this moment of time, and that's communal joy. I think the show really allows the audience to come together and enjoy this fun, energetic show. So, was I bored? Not for 1 second. This show is constant, nonstop dance and energy. Most of the individual numbers are between 1 and 3 minutes long. They're quick, they're punchy, they keep moving. It's perfectly calibrated for modern attention spans, and it worked for me completely. I could honestly watch these two dance for hours, although I do not want to in a theater, but I'll do it on scrolling. And I think this is why they've built such a massive following online. So not bored, not even close. Was I confused? Yeah, a little bit, but mostly around this thin narrative, not the dancing. As I mentioned, the Harry Potter sequence came out of nowhere for me. And the inconsistency with the props and the question of whether characters could speak left me with a few, wait, what are the rules here moments. But these aren't deal breakers. But I'm telling you anyhow. So come for the dancing, not for the plot. So let me just be honest about what this show is. It is not groundbreaking theater, but it knows exactly what it is, and it delivers on the promise in the best possible way. If you love Costin-Mayer's TikToks, Instagram Reels, this show is going to give you everything you want and then some. If you're new to them, I think it's still a fantastic, energetic, joyful night of dance, and maybe you'll go and look them up on social media. I think in this time of polarization, it's important for us to come together in a theater and really enjoy something positive and joyful together. My friend who came with me absolutely loved the show as well. So I highly recommend checking this out if this kind of thing sounds interesting to you. So here's the reasons you should see it. You should see it if you want to see excellent dancers doing something completely their own, a style that is infectious, accessible, and just pure fun. It's upbeat, it's lively, it's well-directed, and it's only 70 minutes. It's a perfect night out if narrative theater isn't your greatest priority, and having a good time is. So, how did I get tickets? I was lucky enough to get press tickets to this one. I was seated in the third row from the front, which honestly for a dance show is a little too close for my taste. And the Orpheum is not a huge stage. It's a very narrow theater. And with 7 dancers whose choreography is very front-facing and fairly contained, you really want to take the full picture in from head to toe. So my recommendation is sit a little further towards the back. you'll be able to appreciate the synchronicity and the full body movement so much better. That said, there is something thrilling about being up close and watching them work. You can feel the energy, and yes, you can see them sweat. So, which is more important to you? The creative team behind this show is really lovely. It's a creation of two couples, Josh and Lyndsay Aviner, whose production company Hideaway Circus produced the show, with Lyndsay directing, and Austin and Meredith Telenko, Costin Mayer, who choreographed and star in it. I really love that this was made by a small, passionate group of people, and I really felt that there was a lot of heart in it. So where can you get your tickets? If you want to get some cheap tickets, I know they're $33 on TDF and $46 on TodayTix. But before I go, a quick note, there are select performances where Austin and Meredith will not appear. So if seeing Costin Mayer specifically is important to you, make sure to review the fine print during checkout on Ticketmaster or wherever you get your tickets and confirm their blackout dates before you get your tickets. You've been warned. So thanks so much for watching. I have reviews coming out almost every day this week, and I appreciate every like, every comment, every share, and every subscription. It all helps me grow this channel and find more theater lovers like you. And to those of you who come and say hi to me at the theater, I love meeting you. So thanks for doing that. All right, so till the next one, bye.
Don't worry, don't confuse me. If you do